Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to create your very own in-demand virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 52, Selling with Confidence and Imperfect Action.
Yay! We are super pumped to have join with us today Natalie Tolhopf. Nat teaches women in business how to drop self-sabotage and take consistent, imperfect action, sell with confidence to grow their business. So Nat, you're a business coach, author of Allergic to Perfect. If you haven't bought it, go and buy it. Podcaster, speaker, queen of selling with confidence, and a wonderful, staunch supporter of our VA community. Welcome.
It's so funny when you hear your own intros. You're like, guys, who's this guest today? Because hey, it's amazing. That's a really lovely intro, and just want to congrats to you guys. 52 podcasts. That's no easy feat, man. That's amazing. So kudos to you today.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into, what is your story, Nat? How did you become the business coach that you are today?
This question cracks me up because I'm like, okay, guys, I'm going to try and keep it really short. Which means if I go too long, freaking hit the buzzer or something. Share option in one of those TV shows where you flip me off. I accidentally fell into it, which isn't, that's not the most professional thing to say, but I do believe that the universe kind of sets you up to where you want to go. So I've always known that I've been here to do things for other people, help other people. I've always known that. I've always been a natural supporter of other people. And so I became a chef by trade. And as I was from 15, as soon as I was allowed to have a job, I had one. I understood the power of having your own money. So I had a car before I had my license. I had a job, make it on my own money. Went and got an old-fashioned apprenticeship, which means it was a 3-year paid apprenticeship, paid to go to tech, paid to train in 5-star hotel. And at that time, I was extremely masculine. Like I was the second woman in a brigade of 45. Wow. So I have a lot of masculine energy and just to get on with it energy, because in those environments, you just got to get on with it. And so from chefing, I loved working in with teams, and took off overseas. That's what you did as a Kiwi. You went overseas to London and did your OE, and I got to work with some of the greatest chefs of the world who were self-taught. So I came in with my theory and all my pristine looking uniform, and you have these amazing top chefs who hadn't even gone to a school in their life and were the top of their game. And I started to understand then that if you had passion and naturalness in what you did, you didn't necessarily have to have qualifications, right? Because I was learning from these men and women. And so then I came back to New Zealand, quite a cocky 21-year-old. I was full of myself. I'd been to Europe, really full of myself, and thought that I could run my own hospitality business. And I couldn't. And we lost a lot of money, and we spent GST money on buying new furniture. Don't do that. I had a business partner, and we thought that we could turn it into a training school. So take young people like ourselves and train them and really make hospitality a bigger deal than it sometimes is where people aren't trained. So I started to love training other people, running my own business, crashed and burnt. That was my university degree. I was like, I can tell you what not to do in a business.
Yep.
So I fell into consulting. So there's a natural fall into the consulting and helping other hospitality owners what not to do. Mm-hmm. And then I went, this is quickly left field, but it's important with the selling with confidence. My husband and I decided that the grass was greener over in Australia. It's not, it's much drier. Anyway, it wasn't greener. It was so hot. He's an exterior plasterer. He would just be, nothing left of them at the end of the day. And I went and sold mortgages. Who does that? Who does that? I was, how old was I? I was about 28 and never had a mortgage, never really even had any form of understanding of credit, got taught the mortgage system and cold called and sold to Australians as a young Kiwi. There's nothing like selling resilience if you go and do that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially cold calling, so they're not even leads coming in that you were calling.
No, so the marketing team would have these leads and kind of coerce people to let you come to their house. And so you're in the middle of nowhere, knocking on doors, hoping that these people want you in their house. And what I learned from that job in particular, because it was a consultant, again, the only way to make money was for me to sell mortgages. So I have natural integrity, and I know it's weird that you're like, why do you want to talk about natural integrity? Because sometimes we can be taught to not sell with integrity. So I made sure I really only wanted to sell these mortgages if I really thought it was going to help this family, because we sold financial budgeting as well. And I was able to sell, and I did well, and I loved it because of the people connection. It was a real connection with people. Anyway, came back home because the grass wasn't greener, and got married, fell pregnant very quickly, saw a job that came up for being a tutor to teach diploma level, which I was accredited for, and went and taught hospitality management level 5. I just loved it because I could give them engine room experience, not the theory, but real life experience. From there, obviously I'm a bit of an extrovert, so I was being watched by the owner, who at that time was going through a massive big receivership. And I was helping as a careers guidance counsellor as well as tutoring. 2 children in between this, by the way, and I got promoted to their GM position.
Wow.
That's what I said when they offered it. I wasn't an academic. Again, I had no massive qualifications to run a private tertiary. And when I brought those things up to them, they were like, no, that's the reason we don't want you, is we need you. We need your interpretation, your understanding, and your leadership. And that was the first time that I was like, oh, gosh, I never saw myself in that light. So it was an amazing 6 years of running a massive school. But then it was time to leave and crash and burn again with another online business. And this is where I am today, business coaching with 2 failures and no qualifications. And I love it.
Well, you're so good at it, Nat. I mean, just your passion for it, it just absolutely shines through. Whenever we hear you on a podcast or see you turning up and you're speaking at something, or even in the newspaper, I'm pretty sure I read an article that you appeared in the newspaper the other day. And it just, everything, just that passion, and no matter what you're doing, it just absolutely shines through.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that's just my love of, I fell for the social media highlight reel so hard. So I was really caught up, and I still see it now where this stuff takes time, man. And I'm actually a very natural skeptic, and I've got to watch my skepticism sometimes. But I'm a realist. Like, this stuff is not easy. It's actually easier to go have a job than to run your own business, because it's relentless. It needs you all the time, a lot of the time. So I think it's just my realness for women when they don't want them to set themselves up for being unrealistic. Because I did.
Because I think everyone's trying to look for, that sounds hard. So what's the easy way that I can do this? Like, let's try and hack this. Like, we see that all the time with virtual assistants as well. Yeah.
And what's interesting, hey, Jo, is that, you can learn a winning formula for one strategy, and the next time you go and do it, it falls flat as a freaking pancake. And you're like, it worked last time. Well, unfortunately, you just got to get back up and do it again.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, let's get into some sales talk now.
Yeah.
Now, what we find, Joe and I find that the majority of virtual assistants that we chat to and come through the Savvy School, they shudder at the word sales. Like they can't think of anything worse than selling themselves. It doesn't come naturally. Many of them, not all, many of them are introverts.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a way to sell themselves comfortably, I guess. Is that even possible? Can you sell yourself comfortably if it's the most uncomfortable thing for you?
100%. Because half the problem is everyone's making it about them. So I'm like, stop making it about you. There's a really cool t-shirt that I want to get, and it says, you know what? It is all about me. But when it comes to selling, it's nothing about you. It's nothing about you. So as soon as we turn that and go, if you can help someone, if you can help the right person with something that they're having a painful problem with, then it's about them, not you. And it's about being of service and what problem can you solve. And you see something really cool about introverts. And you know what? The world needs introverts. The world needs their thoughtfulness, their calm. I mean, because imagine a world of like, me and the world needs all this yin and yang, someone's introverted style, the way they see things is magic. And so thinking that you need to be extrovert to sell is incorrect.
Yeah, we agree 100%. Both Joe and I are introverts, so we are all for, putting that aside and using our strengths that we do have in order to shine. I've read something on your website the other day, and it talks about the secret sauce to your business, the secret sauce to the growth of your business and your business's success and selling with confidence and all that jazz is you. It's you. It comes down to you. And and you came on the summit early on this year, and you talked a little bit about embracing that true, authentic you and letting people see that, letting your potential clients see that. And that is your secret sauce, isn't it? Don't hide away.
And I think, women hide away from their amazing credentials. I had a client just recently who's worked with some incredible agencies, some top. And I was like, where anywhere on your website or any in your copy are you showcasing, oh, no, but I don't want to put people off. I'm like, no, that's your thought. That's your, playing yourself down thought. And you know what? The tiring thing in business when you have to work on your business is constantly putting on different hats or professional hats, because obviously you're seeing me in a good light, right? You're not seeing me yell at my husband or telling my kids off. That's different, but because I do those things. What's important for me is that if you met me in person, I have the same energy. If we were coaching together, I have the same energy. So it's really important. What's exhausting is constantly changing who you think you have to be. Whereas what if you just showed up as you everywhere?
Yeah.
It's easier.
Well, there's that fear, isn't there, of repelling people, and people are scared of that. And I know that you talk about that, deliberately repelling people. So talk us through that.
I love this
concept, because I'm like, you're already repelling people. You're just not consciously aware you're doing it. So, you're walking in a networking room and someone's already summed you up and gone, nah, loud, too loud. I'm talking about hustling. But we all judge. Let's just be honest. We all look at other people and judge. Like, come on, that's what happens. Whether it's a good thing or not, just that's what we do. And I think it's really important that you have to be all of yourself, because it's the fastest way to be of service to someone. Is to repel the people who you're trying to show up and impress, because you're not going to ever impress them. So important to just show up for the people who do want to hear from you. And that's where your energy needs to go, not, oh, look at my competitor. Look at how she's saying that and she's attracting all these people. I'm going to go be like her. And if it's not your natural way to flow, you actually it looks a little bit awkward and you're trying too hard and it's tiring. So repel to attract, which means your opinion matters. What you have to say about an industry thing, what you think about something, you've got a seat at the table and your opinion matters. And that's where the confidence comes from. Especially if you think the opposite of what your industry is showing, for example.
I love that, because Sam and I purposely do not look at any other virtual assistant coaches anywhere ever, because we don't want to feel like we're not doing a good job or need to do something differently, or we just want to be authentically ourselves and have our own opinions, our own system, our own steps for what we believe from our experience works. So yeah, I totally agree. And we see too many virtual assistants worrying about other virtual assistants in the industry. And I always try and say to them, every hour that you spend focused on your competitors is an hour that you're not focused on your own business and, making it better and doing a better job and servicing your clients. So yeah, it's really important to just concentrate on yourself and put yourself out there authentically, isn't it?
It's 100%. I think you guys are kudos to that advice, where you don't look at your competitors, which means when you create and when you guys put something out, it's come from pure understanding of your clients, not skewed, or blending in or watering down. It's really good. I love that you guys do that.
I feel we get more confident. We get more confident selling whatever it is that we're putting out there, because we know that it's our idea. It's come from us. We haven't been influenced by anyone else. So it definitely fuels that confidence.
Yeah, I think it does. It's a really good point.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And I think that's completely right. When you have a fundamental integrity understanding that what you're putting out is come from the right place, you never have that horrible, like you might get a message from someone who you think's judging you and you instantly get that feeling of, is she about to call me out? Like that stuff, you've got to deal with that stuff. It's all underground stuff from our past, that when you hop into business and sell, you don't know that this stuff pops up until you go and do it, right?
You don't. It's all just waiting to pounce, isn't it? You go into business and you're like, oh my, the stuff that you learn about yourself as a business owner is so incredibly powerful if you're open to it.
Yeah. And often when you start that journey too, like I just started a Sell with Confidence program yesterday with a small group, and I said, look, shit's going to get weird for a couple of weeks because I'm asking you to stir the pot of some stuff, and it's going to feel like you're going backwards. It's just because it's your ego going, you get back in your box. You're not coming out of your comfort zone. So be aware that sometimes when things feel really hard, think of resistance as, if you were climbing up a ladder, yes, it's harder than coming down because that's physics. So resistance is a good thing. It means you're moving forward.
And talking of resistance, I mean, confidence in itself, it's a muscle, isn't it? You've got to work at it. Yes. The more you do something, the better you become, the stronger you've become.
And I think it just comes down to the simplicity that if you have got a result for someone from being of service to them, it is your duty as the business owner to receive that information and go, that is me being an expert. So when you go put yourself out there, you actually know, again, with integrity, hey, I can get a result for someone if it's the right person, and obviously they do the work. But it's really understanding that you can't dismiss those smaller wins, because often with high achievers, we'll be like, oh yeah, but when it's this, I will. But this never comes because you keep moving it up.
But yeah, but yep. I try not to say but ever, and I always try and replace it with and. All right. Talk us through some of the, have you got an example of a transformation that you've helped someone through? Talk us through something.
Yeah, that's a good one. When I saw that question come through, I was like, ooh, which one? It's because, okay, I'm weirdly obsessed with why, and I will answer the question, what makes someone more successful quicker than someone else? What is that about? Why is someone more successful? And so one transformation for me is a recent person, and actually it's the person who decided to share all the people she has worked with in her corporate life, and she's come out on her own and she's really hit the ground running because she fell for some highlight reels too, by the way. So we came into that. She understood that she had her corporate hat on. So sometimes when you're in corporate, we've been working with someone else for a long time. You try to sell someone the drill and not the hole the drill can make. Or you're selling the hammer. You're selling I suppose old school, you're selling the features. Oh, look, here's the volume button. Yeah. Here's the equalizer. Remember stereos? Anyway, that was my first purchase for my first job. But she was doing that too much. And, in a crowded market that she's in, because a lot of us are in crowded markets, people don't want to hear those things. They want to know quickly, are you going to get them a solution? So teaching her how to understand the difference between wants and needs. So as an expert, we'll often be like, you need all this. But when you try and sell that need, a client won't want it because they just want their want right now. That's one thing for me right now because I'm overwhelmed when you tell me about all this other stuff. So trying to teach her how her tools helped and then articulating that to her market by building that confidence piece with where are your clients' heads at right now? What are they sitting there right now trying to do that you can help them with? Because when we come out in business, we think we have to help all the people with all the things and all the language and do all the marketing. It's actually, no, who can you help right now? What's something that they want that you can quickly give them? We didn't try and package her up straight away. We were just like, let's get you some skin in the game. Let's just get you with some hourly sessions, getting some results in. Yeah. So she could understand her ideal client. And then from here, she's been able to put some packages, get some rungs on the board, get the confidence with having worked with people. And now she's getting cold audience. So I love taking low-hanging fruit. Who do you know now that you can help? That's not going to be weird conversation, not having to go, stand on stage naked and share stuff. Like people could make it too big. Yeah. So I think for me, a transformation is important in terms of there's just small increments that happen, and those are really important because you learn so much through those.
Those baby steps, isn't it? It's breaking it down. So it's not so overwhelming. And I think that overwhelm, it just freezes people. They don't get anywhere if they think that everything has got to be perfect. I've got to have the website. I've got to have the business cards. I've got to have my packages. I've got to have a trademark. I've got to, everything on there to do this needs to be ticked off before they then start going out and building relationships. And it's about switching that round, isn't it? It's like, no, let's start right at the beginning. Baby steps.
And it's interesting you say that, Sam, because so I work with a range of women of like from starting to 7 to 10 years in, and it's usually the same problem. It's so interesting, and it's always stripping back and going to simplicity. Because even though tactics and strategies change all the time online in particular, Business Foundation 101 doesn't. So it's always going back to the engine room, pulling all the bells and whistles off and going, can you stand alone without, if I pulled your bells and whistles off, can you do this without it? Oh, shit. Right, we're going to go back to core work. And it drops all the shoulds and bigger action lists because it's like, no, before we go add, when you have a dry cake and it's got pretty icing, no, man, it's got to be good.
Yes. Yeah. I love that analogy. It's very cool. And I like that you say too that like who are the people that you already know that already know, like, and trust you. You just actually have to now sell the solution that you have to a problem that they have because it's much easier to sell to those people.
Well, do you actually need to sell to somebody that you've already got a really good relationship with? Like sell yourself because they already know you, right? That's half the battle. That relationship's already there.
Just be like, hey, Sam, you know how you mentioned the other day? She didn't, by the way. Hey, Sam, how you mentioned the other day you were really stuck with sending your first email in MailChimp. Hey, I'm really happy to spend an hour with you to do it. Are you keen?
Yeah, Nat, cool. I'd love that. Thank you so much for offering. Let's get the date in the diary.
So it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
And so when you can see that it's that, and that you can, if you've got a skill that can help someone else and you know where those people are hanging out going, oh my gosh, I need help, then it's a disservice to them that you're not saying, hey, did you know I can help?
Yeah.
It's when you try and come in with everything and go, and you can have all here, you can have all this. And we're like, I don't want all that. And then when you don't sell those things, we go, oh, I'm no good. My business is broken. I'm out. That's why core work's important. Yeah.
It's so important. And not getting distracted by all the shiny, bright things over there, and then the loud thing over there that's the newest thing. And then, oh, what about it over there? It's blinkers on.
Well, Sam and I, we've just been through this exact thing where with our Savvy School business, we are just about to hire our first virtual assistant team member. And we had to go, hey, actually, let's just get all of the, like you say, the cake. Let's make the cake good. And then we can do all of these other amazing things that we want to. Let's like actually make the core business just simplified, clean, tidy, working, so that then we can do those other things later. So yeah, it doesn't matter what industry it is, it's the same, right?
It totally is, because if you're not converting who's already in front of you, and you go thinking you need some more lead generation, then you're probably unlikely to convert them. So that's where you've got to be quite clear on whoever's through your funnel at the moment. Are you at the moment able to convert those people? If not, don't go chuck some more people down the top. Let's look at what the disconnect is. And sometimes it's just time. You know, like sometimes, you know, we as we all talk about, like, you know, someone might look at my version 6 of my group and go, oh my gosh, I need that. It's like, no, you've got to start at version 1. And it might look like 5 people. But that's the initiation and the apprenticeship. Are you willing to go on that journey? Nah, I'm out. Well, then you can't have what you want. And I know that's tough to say, because I was that person. I was like, I'm going to do this in like 6 weeks. I'm not waiting. Like people say, oh my gosh. It's not true. You can't shortcut this.
I think we just live in a world now where we just expect everything really quickly, don't we? Yeah, and that includes starting a business, because it is relatively, in terms of what you need to set up an online business, if we're just talking about online businesses, it's relatively easy to do now, especially here in New Zealand. Like, you don't really need to do anything. You can just put a sign out somewhere and there you go. Customers, clients, come on in. Yeah.
Yep. Can.
Totally. But they don't just come on in, which is hilarious. Right?
Yeah. That's the hard bit, right?
And sometimes you do have that anomaly where someone will do that. But here's the thing, they're most likely already known in what they do. So it's not like they're a website designer and then they become a florist. You know, it's not usually that so random. There'll be I'm yet to meet that overnight success that hasn't had an influence or they're known, or there's been a PR leg up. There's something, or unless they've had a gap at a right time, and then you can't replicate that gap again. So everyone coming out going, I'm going to do that. It's like, yeah, but you've missed the gap.
Yeah.
You've got to do something else.
The fidget spinners are gone.
It's poppets now. It's poppets now.
It is poppets, yes.
It's hard to keep up with the latest trends and everything. Hey, look, Nat, there's so many conflicting messages out there. Some people say you need to work hard and consistently be taking action. Others say if you're working that hard, then you're doing it wrong. You should be doing less, not more. What's your take on all that?
Yes, so this is a bit of masculine energy, Nat, coming in. Let's be honest, you have to work in your business, right?
Yeah.
Now, the hard bit, the hardness is an important topic to talk about, because that can cause burnout, which is similar to what happened for me. So, which is why I've become the complete opposite. And I have to be careful that I'm not so imperfect that it's unprofessional. But when you're working hard from a perfectionist point of view, like you're up till midnight tweaking the color of your website to match the branding on Instagram, which you're wanting to make sure that the table grid, apparently people look at Instagram and grids. who does that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But are those people, but are they buyers doing that? Like, am I looking at yours going, I'm going to buy from you, Sam, because your grid's amazing? No.
No
one does that. So the perfectionist working hard, yeah, that's not good. But here's what I want people to know is you have to show up and work in your business, and you need to be checking your results and metrics to see that the work you're doing is correlating out to something. Now, at the beginning, sometimes you can have to show up and do work and try a strategy, and strategy can sometimes need 3 to 6 months before we can see some stuff out the other end. And it just needs you to be looking. It needs you to be working on your mindset so you don't give up. You don't make it mean something when it's not happening. And men are really good at this. If a strategy or a launch doesn't work, they don't go, guys, it's me. It's because I'm not good enough. They don't do this.
Women are great at doing that.
Right, and men will go, let's look at what didn't work from a facts and figures point of view, and try it again and understand that it's the game of business. There's obstacles. How are you going to get around it? Get really good at being an obstacle jumper over it, or blast through them. Learn to surf the waves, which then with that analogy means that while you've got to get out and surf, you can have fun and ease with it, right? But you've still got to get out there. Because none of us, including you two, we're not here because we haven't put work in.
That's so true. And I'm not a sales expert by any means, but we've done a bit over the years. And one thing that I've learned is I kind of tackle it like everything's an experiment. Look, I'm going to give it a go, whether it's a Facebook ad or if it's an article on LinkedIn, whatever it is, whatever promo or sales type of technique, I'm going to give it a go. And if it doesn't work, hey, what's the worst that can happen?
It's such a good point, Sam, because actually what the worst that can happen is you've already got it. You know how some people will go, well, I've got no clients. So if you go take an action, what will happen? I'll still have no clients. So you're already experiencing what you're fearing. Oh, yeah. So go take the action.
Oh, that's awesome.
Love it.
Love that. Yeah.
We can get caught up in that. And that's why I love to teach, hey, what if while making your coffee in the morning, you sent a really quick follow-up to an inquiry? How hard was that? Oh, it wasn't. Okay, well, what if you did 2 sales actions a day? Oh, I can do that. And the momentum builds up for you. You get used to taking the orders for people and knowing that 2 to 3% of people are always interested to hear more. So your PS on a post is not going to offend someone. It's actually going to be a service.
Do you find that women in general, they well, actually, no, here's a question for you, Nat. Why do women find sales so icky? Like, what is it about it?
It's actually their stories or our stories around how we feel and do money. So what we think about money mindset's really important.
Money.
Yeah. And how yuck they feel when someone sells to them and what they think about someone who is making more money than them. It's all deeply correlated through there. And especially in a world of, we don't want to be seeing that, Nat, you're just in business to make money. Well, actually, that's the definition of a business.
You're not a charity, right?
Otherwise, you're a not-for-profit. Yeah.
And I think the same with banks. They're like, oh, banks are so helpful. Yeah, because they're a business, so they're trying to take your money. So, we've got to do it with integrity. So, yes, I build my business with integrity that whoever buys my stuff, I've hopefully attracted the right people because I need the right people who are going to take the actions to get the solution. So I think it's to answer your question, Sam, is it's deeply ingrained in us. We can make the whole sales thing weird from what stories we tell ourselves or how we approach money.
So interesting.
Isn't it? It fascinates the hell out of me.
So you think part then of gaining that confidence in selling is getting comfortable talking about money in general?
yes, but also allowing yourself to receive the money.
Yeah.
So if a client says to you, I want to make $10,000, and I'm like, have you ever had $10,000 as a lump sum in your bank account? And they go, no. I'm like, well, you better fucking start to get comfortable, mate, because until you do, I apologize, there's a bit of a lot of swearing. Until you do, you're going to feel weird. You're going to repel that money off because you're just going to be like, or it'll come in and you'll go, oh, refund, I'm not good enough, I don't know what I'm doing. And so we push our goals away until we're used to receiving money.
Got to open yourself up to it, don't you? Abundance.
Yes. And I think it's important to, like you said, Sam, have conversations around money, to be around women who are attracting the money, so you can also feel deserving to attract that money. In order for you to help more people, right? So if you have your own bills paid, you can help more people, your community, your family. So it's a beautiful ricochet.
Love it so much.
Have you got a few, like, what would be your like key messages, your key tips for those who are introverted or have these fears? What are your tips for how to take imperfect action? Like, what are some key messages?
I think even though you can't use you're an introvert as an excuse, because us extroverts, me is included, I still have doubts. I still have stories that I could have in my head that I need to be aware of. So I think unpack are the repetitive thoughts you're currently having, are they true? Or are they just your BS? Most of the time they're BS, because I'll say to you, hey, show me factual evidence, like we're in a court of law, that your current belief right now is true. And people will be like, well, I can't. And I'm like, yeah, so it's not true. So the first thing would be unpack your story, what the procrastination, which is serving you, because it's easier to procrastinate than take action often. What is it about? You've got to just be really clear. What is it about? And do you, like as an introvert, if you love audio, do it more. If you love writing, do it more. Do more of what you love and less of going, I need to be like Nat, the extrovert. No, you don't. When world needs how you show up. So unpack your shit and show up more to your strengths. Show up more to how you want to do it.
I used to have this idea about imperfect action. This is going way back when, and that it was only perfectionists struggled with imperfect action. And then it didn't take that long for me to realize, well, no, actually, that's not the case.
Oh, I think we just all fear judgment. Like there's some people out there who go back through their podcast, kudos to them, because I don't do this. They'll go back through all their podcasts they've been interviewed in and critique themselves. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
I mean, I do, because I have to do the captions. So I listen to them all. And for when people swear on our podcast, so I can make sure I turn on the explicit.
Like beeps all through this one, joke. But that's different, right? You're going through editing.
No, but I also notice things that I say all the time, which is, yeah, absolutely. And so I've tried to stop myself from saying that. And I notice the so then I can make sure I slow down. And yeah, I think it's really important. Even though it was uncomfortable in the beginning, it's fine now, because I'm like, oh, you just need to change this, Joe, or concentrate on this next time. Like, it's just this is what I need to do. It's not oh, you're so crap at talking,
Yeah. And I think it's if it's something that you care about and you're still taking action on other things, and you're not making it an excuse to, oh, I didn't get that done because I spent 2 hours critiquing my podcast. That's when it's a problem. That when you're not using those things as to not take the action.
Is that self-sabotage? Or is that different? Is that something else again?
Well, see, self-sabotage is really interesting because it's really sneaky. Self-sabotage can be let's use an analogy of Red Riding Hood, of the wolf dressed as the grandma. Like, it'll be an old story dressed as something different to try and trick you. So sabotage is it's an interesting topic. Some people that believe it doesn't exist, and some people it is. We can sabotage, or we'll hit that, what we call that thermostat level of, I've only ever been able to make $5,000 a month, and you'll sabotage yourself forever hitting it. So yeah, sabotage is a massive subject because it's sneaky. Sometimes you can't see it for yourself. You need other people. It's that sabotaging behavior of instead of deciding to choose a new thought or habit, you go and have that third biscuit that you know you're not meant to have. So yes, and sabotage is interesting.
I shouldn't have had that packet of chips for breakfast.
Oh, that's been absolutely fab, Nat. So is there anything that we haven't covered today that you'd really like to mention on this topic? Or another topic? Anything?
No, I just really care that women understand that that your opinion matters, and I'm saying that because I want to hear that too. There's lots of things I don't talk about or participate in with groups because I'm still like, oh, what would people think if I don't agree with that? And it's still learning for me. And I'm like, guys, like, if we all just start doing it together, then we will help other people bring their opinions through. Or you just question everything, and be okay if you're doing the opposite when everyone's going the other way. Yeah.
And embrace your voice. Embrace the voice.
Yeah.
Even if it's quiet, right? Use it.
Everyone needs every other, a cool analogy is, if all three of us were in a trio of violinists and we were beautiful violinists and we played all together, we would sound amazing. But we'd equally sound amazing individually playing the same instrument because my intonation's heavier or yours is lighter, Sam, or Joe, yours is just different again. So even there's room for individuality all the time because orchestras show us that.
Nice. So let's talk about your fabulous Selling with Confidence kit.
Oh yeah, that thing. So what it does is it gives you a list of sales actions, small ones, big ones, and within the bundle too is a really cool template to work out who your low-hanging fruit is, and then hey, go and take the challenge of how about you go and use some of these actions to go and contact some people so that you can build that confidence up. And then there's a cool little audio in there just reminding you, I suppose, just some inspiration to remind you of why people need your work, just to, strengthen that mindset.
Nice. Okay, so we'll have a link down below to that where you can get hold of the Selling with Confidence kit. Plus, you have a very amazing book that this is Sam's copy. She actually loaned it kindly to me because she has read it already. So it is Allergic to Perfect. And where can people get hold of this book, Nat?
Just come to my website and then there's a tab that just says, hey, this is good, Sell with Confidence. Buy my book.
Nice. Yes.
There's no, I think you might want this tab. It's a buy my book.
Yeah. Nice. And so what's your website? NatalieTolhopf.com. Perfect. All right. And where else can people follow and connect with you, Nat?
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, or if you sign up to that bundle, I like to think I send some really cool tips and inspiring emails. So if you're just needing, and I have a Facebook group as well, free group, Imperfect Action, where you get to just get some more of me and a cool support group.
Awesome.
Oh, well, Natalie, thanks, Nat.
Thank you so much for coming on. That was the fastest. I think we've 43 minutes. Time flies when we're having a chat to you, Natalie. Sam and I both love this topic, this imperfect action, but trying to get virtual assistants comfortable with selling, because if you're not selling, then you don't have a business. And, we want our virtual assistants in this industry to all be successful and all be living amazing lives where they can have a business that supports their lifestyle. So we really appreciate your time. Thanks, Natalie.
Oh, you guys are awesome what you do for the VA community. Shout out to you guys. I think it's amazing what you do. It's a cool business.
Oh, well, thanks. And thank you, Natalie, for being such an inspiration and staunch supporter to our VA community. We've got some big fans in the VA world.
That's nice.
Thanks to everyone for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the Savvy School website to check out the amazing Members Club and find more free resources.
You can find us at savvyschool.co.nz.